Isaiah Carter thought grief had already taken everything from him, his wife, his hope, his reason to smile. But on a freezing December morning behind the greasy counter of Russo's diner, a 9-year-old girl with a pink prosthetic leg would walk through that door and shatter the walls he'd spent 3 years building. She didn't ask for charity. She didn't want pity. She just wanted a table. And in 6 devastating words, she would expose a truth Isaiah had been running from since the day his wife died. What she said next would silence an entire diner, bring a broken father to his knees, and prove that sometimes the smallest voices carry the heaviest truths. If you're watching this, hit subscribe and tell me where you're watching from, because this story will remind you what it means to truly see someone. The alarm clock screamed at 4:47 a.m., 3 minutes before Isaiah needed it to. He slapped the button and sat up in the dark, his back aching before his feet even touched the floor. The apartment was silent except for the hum of the old refrigerator in the kitchen. He didn't turn on the light. He knew every corner of this place by heart. The crack in the baseboard, the loose floorboard by the bathroom, the water stain on the ceiling that looked like a bird with broken wings. He dressed in the dark, black pants, white shirt, the same uniform he'd worn for 3 years, the same routine, the same heaviness in his chest that never quite went away. In the bathroom, he splashed cold water on his face and stared at himself in the mirror. 34 years old, but his eyes looked older, much older. He ran a hand over his face and felt the stubble there. No time to shave. Mr. Russo didn't care about stubble. He cared about tables being clean and customers leaving happy. Isaiah walked past the kid's room and paused. The door was cracked open. He could hear Malik's steady breathing and Zoe's little snores. She always snored when she was really tired. He wanted to go in and kiss their foreheads, but he knew better. Zoe was a light sleeper. If she woke up, she'd want him to stay, and he couldn't. He never could. The bus came at 5:32. Isaiah stood at the corner with his hands in his pockets, watching his breath fog in the cold air. December in the city meant frozen fingers and people who didn't look at each other. He liked it that way. No one asked questions. No one expected smiles. The diner sat on the corner of 8th and Market, wedged between a laundromat and a check-cashing place. The sign outside said Russo's in faded red letters. It had been there longer than Isaiah had been alive. Maybe longer than Mr. A. Russo had been alive, too. Isaiah unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The smell hit him first: coffee, grease, and something sweet from yesterday's pies. He flipped on the lights, and the diner came to life. Red vinyl booths, checkered floor, a long counter with silver stools that spun if you pushed them hard enough. Zoe loved those stools. He went to the back and grabbed the cleaning supplies. The morning routine was muscle memory now. Wipe down the counters, check the salt and pepper shakers, refill the napkin dispensers, stack the menus, count the tips from yesterday. $17.63. Isaiah folded the bills and put them in his pocket. Every dollar mattered, every single one. "You're here early." Isaiah looked up. Mr. Russo stood in the doorway to the kitchen, arms crossed. He was a big man with silver hair and a permanent scowl that didn't mean much. Isaiah had learned that in his first week. Mr. Russo barked, but he didn't bite. "Wanted to get a head start," Isaiah said. "Good. It's going to be packed today. Pre-Christmas rush." Mr. Russo grunted. "People shopping, people stressed, people wanting cheap food fast. You know the drill." Isaiah nodded. He did know. December was always like this. The diner filled with strangers carrying bags, their faces tight with worry about money or time or family they didn't want to see. Isaiah understood that worry. He felt it every single day. "Table 4's wobbly again," Mr. Russo said. "Fix it before we open." "Yes, sir." Mr. Russo disappeared into the kitchen. Isaiah heard pots clanging and the hiss of the grill heating up. He went to table 4 and knelt down. folding a napkin into a small square and wedging it under the short leg. It wasn't a permanent fix, but nothing in this place was permanent. He stood and looked around the diner. This was his world now. Vinyl and grease and people who didn't know his name. It wasn't what he'd imagined for himself. But then again, nothing was. He thought about Shayla. He tried not to, but mornings were the hardest. She used to wake up before him and make coffee. She'd hum while she poured it, some song he never knew the name of. She'd kiss his cheek and tell him the day would be good, even when they both knew it wouldn't be. She'd been gone 3 years. Cancer didn't care about good days. Isaiah blinked hard and shook his head. He couldn't do this. Not now, not here. He had work to do. By 11 o'clock, the diner was full. Every booth, every stool. People crowded near the door, waiting for tables to open up. Isaiah moved fast, balancing plates on his arm, refilling coffee cups, wiping down tables the second someone stood up. "Excuse me. Excuse me." A woman in a red coat waved her hand at him. "We've been waiting 15 minutes. "I'll get you seated as soon as I can, ma'am," Isaiah said, his voice calm. "This is ridiculous," she muttered. Isaiah didn't respond. He'd learned not to. People said things when they were hungry and tired. It didn't mean anything. Mrs. Delgado sat in her usual spot by the window, sipping coffee and watching everything like a hawk. She was a regular, came in 3 times a week, always ordered the same thing, always had something to say. "Isaiah, honey, you look like you're running a marathon," she called out. "Feels like it," he said, forcing a small smile. "You need help. Mr. Russo should hire more people." "We're managing. Barely." She sipped her coffee and looked out the window. "This place is a mess. Look at that booth over there. That man can barely fit his legs under the table." Isaiah glanced over. She was right. The booths were tight, the aisles narrow. The diner wasn't built for comfort. It was built for speed. The door opened again. A cold gust of wind swept in, and Isaiah looked up. A woman stepped inside first. She was white, maybe late 20s, with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. She wore a navy blue jacket and carried a small backpack. She looked around the diner with the careful eyes of someone deciding if she wanted to stay. Behind her, a little girl stepped inside. Isaiah noticed her leg first. She walked with a slight limp, her right leg ending just below the knee. The prosthetic was visible, black metal and bright pink plastic. She wore jeans and sneakers, but the prosthetic didn't quite match the rhythm of her steps. The girl paused just inside the door. Her eyes scanned the room slowly, taking in every table, every booth, every person. The woman touched her shoulder gently. "Come on, Lily, let's sit." The girl, Lily, didn't move right away. She was looking at the booths, her face calm but thoughtful. Isaiah watched from across the room. Something about the way she stood there made him pause. She wasn't scared, she wasn't shy. She was just deciding. "Isaiah!" Mr. Russo's voice barked from the kitchen. "Table 6 needs their check!" Isaiah snapped back into motion. He grabbed the check, delivered it, cleared 2 tables, and refilled 3 coffee cups. But his eyes kept drifting back to the door. The woman was trying to steer Lily toward a booth near the back. Lily hesitated, her hand resting on the edge of the table. She looked at the narrow space between the seat and the table, then back at the woman. "It's fine," the woman said softly. "We can make it work." Lily didn't say anything. She just stood there. Isaiah felt something tug at him. He didn't know what it was, but he noticed. He saw her, and then she turned. Her eyes met his across the diner. She was small, maybe 9 or 10 years old, with light brown skin and dark hair in 2 braids. Her face was serious, but not sad, just steady. She walked toward him. The noise of the diner seemed to fade. Plates clattered, people talked. But all Isaiah could hear was the soft rhythm of her steps. One regular, one slightly different. She stopped in front of him. "Excuse me," she said, her voice polite and clear. Isaiah looked down at her. "Hey there. You need something?" She nodded. "Can I have a table?" Isaiah blinked. "A table?" "Yes, please." He glanced around the diner. Every table was full. The woman, her mom, maybe, was still standing by the booth looking unsure. "We're pretty packed right now," Isaiah said gently, "but there's a booth open in the back." "I need a table," Lily said again, not demanding, not rude, just clear. Isaiah crouched down a little so he was closer to her level. "Can I ask why? The booth's got more space." Lily looked at him for a long moment. Then she glanced down at her leg. The prosthetic gleamed under the diner lights. "When I sit in a booth," she said quietly, "my leg scrapes against the table. It makes a sound. People look." Isaiah felt something crack open inside his chest. "I don't like it when people stare," Lily said. "A table is easier." The diner felt too loud suddenly, too bright. Isaiah's throat tightened. He straightened up and looked around. No open tables. But there was a corner spot, 2 chairs pushed up against the wall. Technically, it wasn't for customers. Mr. Russo used it for storage sometimes. Isaiah made a decision. "Give me a second," he said. He walked to the corner and moved the chairs. He wiped down the small table and pulled it away from the wall. It wasn't much, but it would work. Mrs. Delgado watched him from her booth. "What are you doing, Isaiah?" He didn't answer. He just set the chairs in place and gestured to Lily. "How's this?" he asked. Lily's face softened. Not quite a smile, but close. "Thank you," she said. She walked over and sat down carefully. Her prosthetic fit easily under the table. No scraping, no sound. The woman in the navy jacket hurried over, her face surprised. "Thank you so much. I didn't realize—" "It's no problem," Isaiah said. He handed them menus and walked back toward the kitchen. His hands were shaking. "Isaiah." He turned. Lily was looking at him again, her eyes steady and serious. "Most people pretend I'm not there," she said. The diner went quiet. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe Isaiah just couldn't hear anything else. "Thank you for seeing me," Lily said. Isaiah couldn't speak. He just nodded. And then the door opened again. "Dad!" Isaiah turned. Malik walked in first, his backpack slung over one shoulder. He was 11, tall for his age, with serious eyes just like his father's. Behind him came Zoe, bouncing on her toes, her coat unzipped and her hat crooked. "We came straight from school," Zoe said, running up to him. "Can we sit at the counter?" Isaiah's heart was still pounding. He looked at his kids, then back at Lily, who was watching them quietly. "Yeah," he said, his voice rough. "Yeah, go ahead." Zoe climbed onto a stool and spun around once. Malik sat beside her, but his eyes were on Lily. He noticed everything. Always had. "Who's that?" Malik asked quietly. "A customer," Isaiah said. But it felt like more than that. It felt like something was shifting. Something small but impossible to ignore. Lily sat at her table, her hands folded on the menu. The woman across from her, her therapist maybe, or a guardian, was talking softly. But Lily wasn't looking at her. She was looking at Isaiah. And Isaiah realized, with a weight that made his chest ache, that he hadn't been seen in a long time either. The lunch rush didn't slow down. If anything, it got worse. More people, more noise, more demands. But Isaiah moved through it differently now. Something had loosened in his chest, and he couldn't figure out if that made things easier or harder. He brought water to Lily's table. The woman across from her, Hannah, she'd said when she ordered, was scrolling through her phone. Lily had her menu open, studying it carefully. "You know what you want?" Isaiah asked. Lily nodded. "Grilled cheese, please, and apple juice." "Good choice." Isaiah wrote it down. "That's my daughter's favorite, too." Lily looked past him toward the counter where Zoe was swinging her legs and talking to Malik about something. Her voice carried across the diner, high and excited. "She's loud," Lily said, but she was almost smiling. "Yeah, she is." Isaiah felt his own mouth twitch. Never met a quiet moment she didn't want to fill. Hannah looked up from her phone. "I'll have the soup and half sandwich. Whatever's good." "Tomato soup, turkey sandwich. I'll get that in for you." Isaiah walked back toward the kitchen, weaving between tables. Mrs. Delgado caught his arm as he passed. "That was a nice thing you did," she said, her voice lower than usual. "Moving that table." Isaiah shrugged. "It's just a table." "No, it's not." Mrs. Delgado looked at him with sharp eyes. "Don't act like it doesn't matter. It matters to that little girl." Isaiah didn't know what to say to that, so he just nodded and kept moving. In the kitchen, Mr. Russo was flipping burgers with one hand and barking orders at the cook with the other. Isaiah clipped the order to the line. "Grilled cheese and a soup combo," he said. "Got it." Mr. Russo didn't look up. "You handling things out there?" "Yeah, it's busy, but we're managing." "That girl with the leg, she okay?" Isaiah paused. He hadn't expected Mr. Russo to notice. "She's fine, just needed a different table." Mr. Russo grunted. "Good. People get weird about stuff like that. You did right." Isaiah felt something warm move through him. Mr. Russo didn't give compliments often. When he did, they meant something. Back at the counter, Zoe was talking to Malik in a loud whisper. "Did you see her leg? It's pink. That's so cool." "Zoe, don't be rude," Malik said quietly. "I'm not being rude. I think it's cool." Isaiah walked over and put a hand on Zoe's shoulder. "Keep your voice down, baby." "But Dad—" "I know. Just quieter, okay?" Zoe nodded, her eyes wide. She leaned closer to Malik and whispered something Isaiah couldn't hear. Malik rolled his eyes but didn't stop her. Isaiah glanced back at Lily's table. She was watching Zoe now, her expression unreadable. Hannah was still on her phone, typing something quickly. When the food was ready, Isaiah brought it over himself. He set the grilled cheese in front of Lily and the soup in front of Hannah. "Thank you," Lily said. "You're welcome." Isaiah started to walk away, but Lily spoke again. "Your kids go to Lincoln Elementary?" He turned back. "Yeah. How'd you know?" "I saw their uniforms. I used to go there." "Used to?" Hannah looked up. "We moved districts last year. Lily's at Riverside now." Isaiah nodded. "That's a good school." "It's okay," Lily said. She picked up her sandwich and took a small bite. "The playground's better at Lincoln." "Yeah?" Isaiah smiled a little. "What makes it better?" "The swings go higher, and there's a big slide." Lily chewed thoughtfully. "I miss the swings." Something in the way she said it made Isaiah's chest tighten. He wanted to ask more, but he didn't know if he should. He didn't know if it was his place. "Well," he said carefully, "Lincoln's lucky they had you." Lily looked at him again with those steady eyes. "Thanks." Isaiah walked back to the counter. Malik was watching him. "You okay, Dad?" Malik asked quietly. "Yeah, why?" "You look, I don't know, different." Isaiah ruffled Malik's hair, even though his son hated when he did that. "I'm fine. Just a long day." But it wasn't fine. Something was shifting inside him, and he didn't know how to stop it. Didn't know if he wanted to. The diner started to clear out a little after 1 o'clock. People left in waves, back to work, back to shopping, back to whatever lives they were living. Isaiah cleared tables and wiped them down, his body moving on autopilot. Lily and Hannah were still there. Lily had finished her sandwich and was drawing on a paper napkin with a pen Hannah had given her. Isaiah could see the shapes from across the room, a house maybe, or a tree, something with a lot of lines. Zoe slid off her stool and walked over to their table. "Zoe!" Malik called after her. "Leave them alone!" But Zoe didn't listen. She never did. Isaiah watched as his daughter stopped next to Lily's chair. "Hi," Zoe said brightly. "I'm Zoe." Lily looked up from her drawing. "Hi, I like your leg. The pink part is really pretty." Isaiah's stomach dropped. He started to move toward them, but Hannah held up a hand, small, subtle. "Wait," the gesture said. Lily studied Zoe for a moment. Then she smiled. A real smile, the first Isaiah had seen from her. "Thanks," Lily said. "I picked the color. Can you take it off?" "Zoe!" Malik hissed from the counter. But Lily didn't seem upset. "Yeah, I can. At night mostly. Or when it hurts." "Does it hurt a lot?" "Sometimes. Not always." Zoe tilted her head, thinking. "My dad's back hurts. He says it's from carrying heavy plates all day." Lily glanced at Isaiah. He felt caught, like she could see right through him. "That sounds hard," Lily said. "It is. But he doesn't complain." Zoe leaned closer, her voice dropping to a loud whisper. "He's really strong and really nice, even when he's tired." Isaiah felt his throat tighten. He turned away and pretended to wipe down a table that was already clean. "Your dad seems nice," Lily said. "He is. He's the best dad ever." Malik slid off his stool and walked over. "Come on, Zoe, stop bothering them." "I'm not bothering them," Zoe protested. "It's okay," Lily said. She looked at Malik. "She's not bothering me." Malik studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Okay, but we should still let you eat." "I'm done eating. I'm just drawing." Zoe leaned over the table. "What are you drawing?" "My old house, before we moved." "Do you miss it?" Lily hesitated. "Yeah, I do. I'd miss my house too if we moved," Zoe said. "Even though it's small and the bathroom sink leaks." Isaiah walked over then, unable to stay away any longer. "All right, you two. Let's give them some space." "But Dad?" "Zoe, now." Zoe sighed dramatically, but followed Malik back to the counter. Isaiah looked at Hannah apologetically. "Sorry about that. She's friendly." Hannah smiled. It was the first real expression he'd seen from her. "It's fine, really. Lily doesn't get a lot of kids talking to her like that." "Like what?" "Like she's just a regular kid." Isaiah glanced at Lily, who was back to drawing on her napkin. "She is a regular kid." Hannah's smile faded a little. "I know. Not everyone sees it that way." Isaiah didn't know what to say to that. He just nodded and walked back toward the kitchen, but Hannah called after him. "Can I ask you something?" He turned. "Sure." "Why did you move the table for her?" Isaiah looked at Lily, then back at Hannah. "Because she asked." "That's it?" He thought about it. About the way Lily had stood there, so calm and clear. About the way she'd explained without drama or anger. About the way she'd said most people pretend I'm not there. "No," he said quietly. "That's not it." Hannah waited. "She reminded me that people need to be seen," Isaiah said. "Not helped, not fixed, just seen." Hannah's eyes got bright suddenly. She looked away, blinking fast. Isaiah felt awkward. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." "No, it's okay." Hannah's voice was thick. "You're right, that's exactly it." She stood up and walked toward the bathroom, her shoulders tight. Isaiah watched her go, confused. Lily looked up at him. "She's sad a lot," she said simply. "Yeah?" "Her sister died. 2 years ago. She was little like me." Isaiah felt like the floor had shifted under his feet. "I'm sorry. Me too." Lily went back to her drawing. "Hannah tries to help people now. She's my physical therapist. She's really good at it." "That's good, but she's still sad. I can tell." Isaiah pulled out the chair across from Lily and sat down. He knew he had other tables to clear, other customers to help, but he stayed. "What happened to your leg?" he asked gently. "If you don't mind me asking." Lily didn't look up from her napkin. Car accident. 3 years ago. My mom died. I didn't. The words were so simple, so honest. Isaiah felt like he'd been punched. I'm sorry, he said, his voice rough. Lily looked up at him then. Her eyes were dry, but there was something old in them, something that didn't belong in a kid. My wife died 3 years ago, too, Isaiah said. He didn't know why he was telling her. He never talked about Shayla, not to customers, not to anyone except Malik and Zoe. Cancer. Lily nodded slowly. That's hard. Yeah, it is. They sat there in silence for a moment. The diner noise surrounded them, dishes clattering, people talking, the hiss of the grill. But inside that silence, something passed between them. Something quiet and true. Do your kids remember her? Lily asked. Malik does. He was 8. Zoe? She tries to. But she was so little. I remember my mom, Lily said. I remember her laugh and the way she sang in the car. Isaiah's eyes burned. That's good, that you remember. Hannah says memories are important. She says they keep people alive. Hannah's right. Lily smiled a little. I know. Hannah came back from the bathroom, her face composed again. She looked at Isaiah sitting at the table and raised her eyebrows. Sorry, Isaiah said, standing quickly. I should get back to work. It's okay, Hannah said. She glanced at Lily. We should probably get going anyway. We have another appointment across town. Lily folded her napkin carefully and put it in her pocket. Can I come back here sometime? Isaiah felt his heart lift. Anytime you want. Good. Lily stood up. I like this place. Hannah paid at the counter, leaving a $10 tip on a $15 bill. Isaiah tried to give some back, but she shook her head. You earned it, she said quietly. As they walked toward the door, Zoe jumped off her stool. Bye, Lily. Lily turned and waved. Bye, Zoe. Come back soon. I will. And then they were gone. The diner felt different after they left. Quieter, even though it was still half full. Isaiah stood behind the counter, staring at the door. Malik came up beside him. Dad? Yeah? That girl, Lily. She reminded me of Mom. Isaiah looked at his son, surprised. How? Malik shrugged. I don't know, just the way she talked, like she wasn't afraid of the truth. Isaiah pulled Malik close, pressing a kiss to the top of his head. Yeah, she was like that. Do you think we'll see her again? I hope so. Zoe appeared on Isaiah's other side, squeezing between him and the counter. I think she's nice and brave. It's hard to be different. How do you know that? Isaiah asked. Zoe looked up at him with serious eyes. Because people look at us different too sometimes. Because we don't have a mom. Because we're not like other families. Isaiah's chest ached. He crouched down and pulled both his kids close, holding them tight. We're exactly like other families, he said fiercely. We love each other. That's what matters. I know, Zoe said, her voice muffled against his shoulder. But it still feels different sometimes. Isaiah held them for a long moment. The diner moved around them, but he didn't care. His kids needed this. He needed this. When he finally let go, Mr. Russo was standing by the kitchen door, watching. His expression was unreadable. Back to work, Carter, Mr. Russo said gruffly. But there was something soft in his eyes. Isaiah nodded and stood up. Yes, sir. The rest of the shift passed slowly. Isaiah's mind kept drifting back to Lily's steady eyes, to the way she'd said most people pretend I'm not there, to the way Malik had said she reminded him of Shayla. When the diner finally closed at 8, Isaiah was exhausted. His feet hurt, his back ached, but something else was different, something he couldn't name. He walked home with Malik and Zoe, their hands in his. The December air was cold and sharp, but the streetlights made everything glow. "Dad?" Zoe asked. "Yeah, baby. Do you think Lily's okay?" Isaiah thought about it. "I think she's doing her best, just like us." "That's good." They walked in silence for a while. Then Malik spoke. "You did a good thing today, Dad. Moving that table." Isaiah squeezed his son's hand. "Thanks, buddy." Mom would have been proud. Isaiah's throat closed up. He couldn't speak for a moment. Finally, he managed, "I hope so." When they got home, the kids got ready for bed. Isaiah sat on the couch in the dark, too tired to move. He thought about Lily, about Hannah, about grief and loss and the strange way it connected people. He thought about being seen. And for the first time in 3 years, he felt something crack open inside him, something that hurt, but also felt like breathing. The next morning came too early, like it always did. But when Isaiah opened his eyes at 4:47, he didn't feel the same weight pressing down on his chest. Something was different, lighter. He got dressed in the dark and paused outside the kids' room again. This time he pushed the door open a little wider. Zoe was curled up on her side, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin. Malik was sprawled across his bed, one arm hanging off the edge. Isaiah stepped inside and kissed Zoe's forehead. She stirred but didn't wake. Then he moved to Malik's bed and smoothed his son's hair back gently. "Love you both," he whispered. The bus was late. Isaiah stood at the corner, shivering in his jacket, watching his breath fog in the cold air. An old woman stood next to him, carrying 2 plastic grocery bags. She looked tired. He held the door for her when the bus finally came. "Thank you, young man," she said. "Yes, ma'am." At the diner, Isaiah went through his morning routine. Unlock the door, lights on, wipe the counters, check the shakers, stack the menus. But today he also walked to the corner where he'd moved the table for Lily. It was still there, tucked against the wall. 2 chairs, clean surface. He left it that way. Mr. Russo came in at 6:30, earlier than usual. He had dark circles under his eyes. "You okay?" Isaiah asked. "Couldn't sleep. Might as well be here." Mr. Russo looked around the diner. "Place looks good. You do that corner table?" "Yeah, thought we could use an extra one." Mr. Russo grunted. "Good thinking." He headed toward the kitchen, then stopped. "Carter?" "Yeah? That thing you did yesterday, for the kid." Mr. Russo's jaw worked. "That was decent. Real decent." Isaiah felt warmth spread through his chest. "Thank you." "Don't let it go to your head. You still got work to do." Isaiah smiled. "Yes, sir." The morning shift was steady but not overwhelming. Regulars came in for coffee and eggs. Mrs. Delgado arrived at 9:30, right on schedule. She sat in her usual booth and waved Isaiah over immediately. "That little girl come back yet?" she asked. "No, ma'am. Just saw her yesterday." "She will, I can tell." Mrs. Delgado sipped her coffee. "You know what I liked about what you did?" Isaiah waited. "You didn't make a big deal out of it. You just did it. No speech, no show, just action." She pointed a finger at him. "That's real kindness. The kind that doesn't ask for applause." Isaiah felt uncomfortable with the praise. "It was just a table." "Stop saying that. You know it was more." Mrs. Delgado leaned back. "My grandson has autism, nonverbal. You know how many times people have ignored him, talked over him like he's not there? Too many to count." "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. Just keep being the kind of person who sees people. The world needs more of that." Isaiah nodded, his throat tight. "I'll try. Good boy." The lunch rush started just before noon. The door kept opening. Cold air, new faces, people in a hurry. Isaiah moved between tables, taking orders, delivering food, clearing plates. His mind was in work mode, focused and steady, and then the door opened again. Hannah walked in first, Navy blue jacket, tired eyes, and behind her, Lily. Isaiah felt his whole body go still. Lily saw him immediately. She smiled, small but real, and lifted her hand in a little wave. Isaiah waved back, feeling something warm flood through him. They walked straight to the corner table, the one Isaiah had left set up. Hannah looked surprised. "You kept it," she said when Isaiah came over with menus. "Figured it might be useful," Isaiah said. Lily sat down carefully, her prosthetic fitting easily under the table. No scraping, no sound. She looked up at Isaiah with those steady eyes. "Thank you," she said. "You're welcome." Isaiah handed the menus. "Same as yesterday? Grilled cheese?" "Yes, please. And apple juice." "You got it." Hannah ordered soup again. Isaiah wrote it down and headed toward the kitchen, but he felt different, lighter, like something good was happening and he didn't want to miss it. When he brought the food out, Zoe was there. She'd spotted Lily the moment she walked in the door. Now she was standing next to their table, bouncing on her toes. "You came back," Zoe said, her voice bright with excitement. Lily smiled. "I said I would. Can I sit with you?" Hannah started to say something, but Lily answered first. "Okay." Zoe climbed into the chair next to Lily and immediately started talking about school, about her teacher, about the Christmas decorations they were making in art class. Lily listened, really listened, nodding at the right moments and asking questions. Isaiah watched from behind the counter, his chest tight with something he couldn't name. Malik came in from school 20 minutes later. He saw Zoe at Lily's table and rolled his eyes, but Isaiah noticed the way he looked at Lily. Curious, respectful. "She came back," Malik said quietly, standing next to his father. "Yeah, she did." "That's good." "Why do you say that?" Malik shrugged. "I don't know. Just feels good, like maybe things can be normal again." Isaiah looked at his son. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Malik struggled for words. "We've been sad for so long, Dad, since Mom died. And yesterday when that girl came in, you looked different, less sad." Isaiah felt his eyes burn. "I didn't know you noticed." "I always notice." Malik's voice was quiet. "I worry about you." Isaiah pulled his son close, pressing his forehead against Malik's. "You don't have to worry about me, buddy. That's not your job." "I know, but I do anyway." They stood like that for a moment. Then Malik pulled back and looked at Lily's table. "She's brave," Malik said. "Being different like that. Having everyone see her leg." "Yeah, she is." "Do you think she's scared?" Isaiah thought about Lily's steady eyes, her calm voice, the way she'd said, "Most people pretend I'm not there." "I think she's probably scared sometimes," Isaiah said. "But she doesn't let it stop her." Malik nodded slowly. "Like Mom." "Yeah, like Mom." Isaiah went back to work, but his eyes kept drifting to the corner table. Zoe was showing Lily something on her hands, some kind of clapping game. Hannah was watching them with a soft expression. The first time Isaiah had seen her face relaxed. When the lunch rush finally slowed, Isaiah brought over refills. Zoe was still chattering away. And then the cat climbed up the tree and got stuck, and the firemen had to come get it down, but the cat scratched one of them and ran away anyway. Lily laughed. A real laugh, bright and clear. Isaiah felt something break open in his chest. Joy. Pure, simple joy. Hannah looked up at him. "Thank you for letting Zoe sit with us. She's been a good distraction." "Distraction from what?" Isaiah asked, then immediately felt like he'd overstepped. "Sorry, that's not my business." "It's okay." Hannah's smile was sad. "Lily has PT this afternoon. It's usually hard, painful. She gets anxious before appointments." Isaiah glanced at Lily, who was now teaching Zoe the clapping game. She looked happy, not anxious. "She doesn't look anxious now," he said. "No, she doesn't." Hannah's eyes got bright. Your daughter is good for her. Zoe's good for everyone. She doesn't know how to be anything but herself. That's a gift. Yeah, it is. They fell into silence, comfortable, easy. Then Hannah spoke again, her voice quieter. Can I tell you something? Sure. My little sister died 2 years ago. She was 8. She had cerebral palsy. Hannah's hands were wrapped tight around her coffee cup. I was supposed to be watching her, but I got distracted. I was on the phone with work, and she choked. Isaiah felt his breath catch. Hannah, I couldn't save her. I tried, but I couldn't. Hannah's voice cracked. So now I help kids like Lily. I try to make their lives easier. Try to make up for what I couldn't do for Emma. Isaiah sat down across from her. You can't blame yourself. Everyone says that, but it doesn't change anything. She wiped her eyes quickly. I see Emma in every kid I work with, every single one, and it hurts, but I can't stop, because if I stop, then what was all of it for? Isaiah reached across the table and put his hand over hers. Just for a moment. Just enough to let her know she wasn't alone. I get it, he said. When Shayla died, I thought I'd die too. Thought I couldn't keep going. But then I'd look at Malik and Zoe, and I knew I had to. Not because I wanted to, because they needed me to. Hannah nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. Does it get easier? No, but it gets different. You learn how to carry it. I don't know if I can. You already are. Isaiah squeezed her hand gently, then let go. You're here. You're helping Lily. You're doing the work. That takes strength. Hannah let out a shaky breath. Thank you. For what? For seeing me too. Isaiah felt his throat close up. He nodded and stood, needing to move before he fell apart right there in the middle of the diner. But before he could walk away, Lily spoke. Isaiah? He turned. She was looking at him with those serious eyes. Yeah? Hannah's really good at her job. She helps me a lot. Lily glanced at Hannah, then back at Isaiah. But sometimes I think she needs help too. She just doesn't ask. Isaiah looked at Hannah, who was staring at Lily in shock. You're probably right, Isaiah said gently. I usually am, Lily said, and there was the smallest hint of a smile on her face. Zoe giggled. I like you. I like you too. The afternoon stretched on. More customers came and went. Mrs. Delgado left a big tip and winked at Isaiah on her way out. Mr. Russo emerged from the kitchen and nodded approvingly at the corner table, now clearly a permanent fixture. When it was time for Hannah and Lily to leave for their appointment, Zoe hugged Lily goodbye. Malik waved from the counter, and Isaiah walked them to the door. Will you come back? He asked Lily. She looked up at him. Do you want me to? Yeah, I do. Then I'll come back. She smiled. Tomorrow? Isaiah felt his heart lift. Tomorrow's perfect. As they walked out, Hannah turned back. Thank you, Isaiah, for everything. You don't have to thank me. I know, but I'm going to anyway. The door closed behind them. Isaiah stood there for a moment, watching through the window as they walked down the street. Hannah's hand on Lily's shoulder. Lily's steps confident and steady. Dad? Isaiah turned. Malik was standing behind him, his expression thoughtful. You okay? Malik asked. Yeah, buddy. I'm okay. You sure? You look like you're about to cry. Isaiah laughed, wiping his eyes quickly. Maybe a little, but that's okay. Sometimes crying is good. Mom used to say that. She did. She was right. Malik was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I'm glad Lily came back. Me too. And I'm glad you're smiling again. Isaiah pulled his son close, holding him tight. Me too, buddy, me too. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Isaiah worked hard, cleared tables, served customers. But his mind kept drifting back to Lily's steady eyes, to Hannah's tears, to the way Zoe had laughed with pure joy, to the feeling of being seen. When the diner finally closed, Isaiah locked up slowly. He stood in the empty space looking at the corner table. 2 chairs. Clean surface. Ready for tomorrow. Mr. Russo came out of the kitchen, pulling on his coat. "Good day, Carter." Isaiah smiled. "Yeah, really good. Good. You earned it." Mr. Russo headed toward the door, then stopped. "You're a good man, Isaiah. Don't forget that." Before Isaiah could respond, Mr. Russo was gone. Isaiah stood alone in the diner. The lights were dim. The air smelled like coffee and grease and something sweet. He thought about Shayla, about how she'd always seen people, really seen them, how she'd taught him to do the same. "I'm trying, baby," he whispered to the empty room. "I'm really trying." And for the first time in 3 years, he felt like maybe she could hear him. When Isaiah got home, the kids were already in bed. Malik had left a note on the kitchen counter. "We ate cereal for dinner. Zoe says to tell you she loves you." Isaiah smiled and folded the note carefully, putting it in his pocket. He checked on both kids. They were sleeping peacefully. Zoe still had her stuffed rabbit. Malik's book was open on his chest. Isaiah sat on the couch in the dark. He was exhausted. His feet hurt. His back ached. But he felt alive. Really, truly alive. And tomorrow, Lily would come back. Tomorrow felt like hope. The next morning, Isaiah woke up before his alarm. He lay in the dark for a moment, listening to the quiet hum of the apartment. Something felt different. The heaviness that usually sat on his chest wasn't there. Or maybe it was, but lighter, manageable. He got up and made coffee. Real coffee. Not just the instant stuff. He hadn't done that in months. The smell filled the small kitchen, warm and rich. Malik shuffled in while Isaiah was pouring his second cup. His son's hair was sticking up on one side, his eyes still half closed. "You're up early," Malik said. "Couldn't sleep? Bad dreams?" Isaiah shook his head. "No, actually no dreams at all." Malik sat at the small table, watching his father carefully. "You seem different." "Different how?" "I don't know, lighter maybe." Isaiah smiled. "Maybe I am. Is it because of Lily?" The question caught Isaiah off guard. He thought about it, really thought about it. "Yeah," he said finally. "I think it is. Not just Lily, but what she reminded me of." "What's that?" Isaiah sat down across from his son. "That it's okay to let people in. That being seen isn't scary, it's necessary." Malik nodded slowly. "Mom used to say that too, that we need each other." She did. She was right about a lot of things. They sat in comfortable silence, drinking their coffee and juice. Then Zoe burst into the kitchen, already dressed and talking a mile a minute. "Is today the day Lily comes back? Can I bring my new markers to show her? Do you think she likes to draw?" "I bet she does. Everyone likes to draw." "Breathe, baby," Isaiah said, laughing. "Yes, she's coming back today. And yes, you can bring your markers." Zoe bounced on her toes. "This is the best day ever." "It's 6 in the morning, Zoe. The day just started." "I know, but it's still the best." Isaiah dropped the kids at school before his shift. Zoe ran inside without looking back, her backpack bouncing. Malik paused at the door. "Have a good day, Dad," he said. "You too, buddy." "And Dad?" "Yeah, I'm proud of you." Isaiah felt his eyes burn. He pulled Malik into a quick hug. "Love you." "Love you too." At the diner, Isaiah went through his routine with purpose. He cleaned the corner table extra carefully, made sure the chairs were straight, set out fresh napkins. Mr. Russo watched from the kitchen doorway. "You expecting royalty?" "No, sir. Just someone important." Mr. Russo grunted, but didn't argue. The morning passed slowly. Every time the door opened, Isaiah looked up, but it was never Lily. Just regulars, just the usual crowd. Mrs. Delgado came in at her usual time. She took one look at Isaiah and smiled. "She's coming today, isn't she?" Mrs. Delgado asked. "How'd you know?" "You've been watching that door like a hawk, and you cleaned that corner table 3 times." Isaiah felt his face warm. "Is it that obvious?" "Only to someone paying attention." Mrs. Delgado patted his hand. "It's nice to see you care about something again, honey. Really nice." At 11:47, the door opened. Lily walked in first this time. Her pink prosthetic caught the light. She was wearing jeans and a purple sweater, her hair in the same 2 braids. Hannah followed behind her, looking less tired than yesterday. Lily's eyes found Isaiah immediately. She smiled and walked straight to the corner table. "Hi," she said. Isaiah felt his heart swell. "Hi yourself. Welcome back." "I told you I'd come." "You did." Lily sat down and Hannah joined her. Isaiah brought menus, but Lily waved hers away. "Grilled cheese and apple juice," she said. "Same as always." "Creatures of habit," Hannah said, smiling. "I'll have the soup again. Coming right up." Isaiah put the order in and went back to the counter. He couldn't stop smiling. Mr. Russo noticed. "You're in a good mood," Mr. Russo said. "Yeah, I am." "That girl's good for you. She's 9 years old." "I don't mean like that." Mr. Russo flipped a burger. "I mean, she reminds you of something you forgot." "What's that?" "How to be human." Isaiah didn't know what to say to that, so he just nodded and grabbed the plates when they were ready. Zoe came in from school just after noon, right on schedule. She saw Lily and let out a squeal that made half the diner turn around. "You're here!" Zoe ran to the corner table. "I brought my markers. Want to draw with me?" Lily's face lit up. "Yes." Zoe plopped down in the chair next to Lily and dumped her markers on the table. Within minutes, they were drawing on napkins, flowers and houses and stick figures with big smiles. Hannah watched them with soft eyes. Isaiah brought over coffee for her. "She doesn't usually warm up to people this fast," Hannah said quietly. "Zoe has that effect on people." "It's not just Zoe." Hannah looked at Isaiah. "It's you. The way you treat Lily like she's just a kid. Not a patient. Not a disability. Just a kid. She is just a kid. I know. But most people don't see it that way." Hannah's voice dropped. "They see the prosthetic first. They see what's missing. You see her." Isaiah sat down across from Hannah. The diner was busy, but he didn't care. This felt important. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Sure." "Why did you become a physical therapist?" Hannah was quiet for a long moment. "I told you about my sister, Emma." "Yeah. After she died, I couldn't function. I quit my job, stopped seeing friends. I just shut down." She wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. "Then one day, my mom dragged me to a support group for people who'd lost someone. And there was this woman there whose son had died in an accident. But she'd started volunteering at a children's hospital, helping kids with disabilities." Isaiah listened, not interrupting. She said helping other kids didn't bring her son back, but it made her feel like his life had mattered, like her pain had purpose. Hannah's eyes were bright with tears. "So I went back to school, got my certification, started working with kids like Lily." "Does it help?" "Some days. Other days it just hurts more." She looked at Lily, who was laughing at something Zoe had drawn. "But then I see moments like this, and I think maybe it's worth it." Isaiah reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "It is worth it. Look at her. She's happy. Because of you and Zoe." "No. She's happy because she's allowed to be herself here. That's all anyone wants." Hannah held his gaze for a long moment. "You're a good man, Isaiah." "I'm just trying. That's all any of us can do." The afternoon passed in a comfortable rhythm. Lily and Zoe drew pictures. Malik came in from school and joined them, showing Lily a book he was reading. Hannah and Isaiah talked in quiet moments between customers, about loss, about parenting, about the strange way grief connected people. Around 2 o'clock, Mrs. Delgado got up to leave. But before she did, she stopped at the corner table. "You're the little girl from yesterday," Mrs. Delgado said to Lily. Lily looked up. "Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to tell you something." Mrs. Delgado's voice was surprisingly gentle. "My grandson is different, too. He doesn't talk. People stare at him all the time. But you know what I tell him?" Lily shook her head. "I tell him that being different means you're brave enough to be yourself. And that's the most important thing in the world." Lily smiled. "Thank you." Mrs. Delgado nodded and walked toward the door, but she stopped next to Isaiah and whispered, "You're doing good, honey, real good." Isaiah felt his throat tighten. "Thank you." At 3 o'clock, the lunch rush finally died down. The diner was nearly empty. Hannah checked her watch. "We should probably go," she said reluctantly. "I have another client at 4. "Already?" Zoe's face fell. "But we just started having fun." "I know, sweetie, but we'll come back tomorrow." "Promise?" Lily looked at Isaiah. "Can we?" "Anytime you want," Isaiah said. "This table is yours." Lily stood up and carefully gathered the napkin drawings. "Can I keep these?" "Of course," Zoe said. "They're for you." Lily smiled and tucked them carefully into her backpack. Then she did something Isaiah didn't expect. She walked around the table and hugged him. Isaiah froze for a second, then wrapped his arms around her gently. She was so small, so brave. "Thank you," Lily whispered, "for seeing me." Isaiah's eyes burned. "Thank you for letting me." When Lily pulled back, Hannah was crying quietly. Zoe was crying too. Even Malik looked emotional. "Come on," Hannah said, her voice thick. "Let's go before we all turn into puddles." They walked to the door together. Lily turned back one more time. "Isaiah?" "Yeah? You're a good dad. Your kids are lucky." Isaiah couldn't speak. He just nodded. And then they were gone. The diner felt too quiet after they left. Isaiah stood at the counter trying to pull himself together. Zoe climbed onto a stool next to him. "Dad, are you crying?" "A little bit, baby." "That's okay. Mom always said crying means you care." Isaiah pulled Zoe close, kissing the top of her head. "Your mom was a smart woman." "Are you sad?" "No, I'm happy." "Then why are you crying?" "Because sometimes happy and sad feel the same, because they both mean you care." Zoe thought about that. "I like Lily." "Me too." "And I like Hannah." "Me too." "Do you think we'll see them again?" Isaiah smiled. "Yeah, baby, I think we will." Mr. Russo came out of the kitchen, wiping his hands on his apron. He looked at Isaiah, then at the corner table where Lily had sat. "That girl did something to you," Mr. Russo said. "What do you mean?" "You're different. You've been different since she walked in here 2 days ago." Mr. Russo crossed his arms. "You're smiling, talking to people, actually living instead of just surviving." Isaiah felt exposed. "I didn't realize it was that obvious." "It is, and it's good." Mr. Russo's gruff expression softened. "I lost my wife 15 years ago, heart attack. She was 52. I thought I'd die too. Thought there was no point in going on." Isaiah had never heard Mr. Russo talk about his personal life. He stayed quiet, letting the man speak. "But then I realized something," Mr. Russo continued. "The best way to honor someone you lost is to keep living, really living, not just going through the motions." He looked Isaiah straight in the eye. "That little girl reminded you of that. Hold on to it." "I will," Isaiah said quietly. "Good." Mr. Russo turned back toward the kitchen. "Now get back to work. Those tables aren't going to clean themselves." But there was a smile in his voice. The rest of the afternoon passed peacefully. Isaiah cleaned and served and smiled at customers. Malik and Zoe did their homework at the counter, occasionally asking him questions. It felt normal. Good. When the diner closed at 8, Isaiah locked up carefully. He looked at the corner table one more time. Tomorrow, Lily would sit there again. Tomorrow, he'd see her steady eyes and hear her honest voice. Tomorrow felt like a promise. Outside, the December air was cold and sharp. Isaiah walked home with Malik and Zoe, their hands warm in his. The streetlights cast long shadows on the sidewalk. "Dad," Malik said. "Yeah, I think Mom would be proud of you for helping Lily." Isaiah stopped walking. He knelt down so he was eye level with both his kids. "You know what I think?" he said, his voice rough with emotion. "I think Mom sent Lily to us, to remind us that it's okay to let people in, that we don't have to be alone." "Do you really believe that?" Zoe asked, her eyes wide. "Yeah, baby, I really do." Malik wrapped his arms around Isaiah's neck. "I miss her." "Me too, buddy, every single day." "But it doesn't hurt as much anymore," Zoe said softly. "Does it?" Isaiah pulled back and looked at his daughter. "No, it doesn't, because we're healing, slowly, together." They stood there on the sidewalk, the three of them holding each other. Cars passed, people walked by. The world kept moving. But in that moment, Isaiah felt something he hadn't felt in 3 years. Peace. When they got home, the kids got ready for bed without argument. Isaiah tucked Zoe in first, pulling the blanket up to her chin. "I love you, Daddy," she whispered. "I love you too, baby. More than anything." "Even more than grilled cheese?" Isaiah laughed. "Even more than grilled cheese." He moved to Malik's room. His son was already under the covers, his book on the nightstand. "Thanks for today, Dad," Malik said. "For what?" "For being happy. It makes me happy too." Isaiah felt his chest tighten. He sat on the edge of Malik's bed and brushed his son's hair back. "I'm sorry I was so sad for so long," Isaiah said quietly. "You don't have to apologize. You were hurting. I still am sometimes. But it's different now, because I remember that I'm not alone. I have you and Zoe, and now maybe I have some new friends too. Like Lily and Hannah? Yeah, like them." Malik smiled. "That's good, Dad. You deserve friends." Isaiah kissed his son's forehead. "Get some sleep, buddy." "Love you." "Love you too." Isaiah turned off the light and stood in the doorway for a moment, watching his son settle into sleep. Then he walked to the living room and sat on the couch in the dark. He thought about Shayla, about the way she'd always told him to keep his heart open, to let people in, to trust that the world had good things left to offer. He'd forgotten that after she died. He'd closed himself off, built walls around his heart, convinced himself that loving anything or anyone else would only lead to more pain. But then Lily walked into the diner, a 9-year-old girl with a pink prosthetic and steady eyes, and she'd said 6 words that changed everything. Most people pretend I'm not there. Those words had cracked something open inside Isaiah, had reminded him that being seen mattered, that seeing others mattered. That connection wasn't weakness. It was strength. Isaiah pulled out his phone and stared at the dark screen. Then he opened his photos and scrolled until he found a picture of Shayla. She was laughing, her head thrown back, joy radiating from every part of her. "I'm trying, baby," he whispered to the image. "I'm really trying to live again. Not just survive, to open my heart, to let people in." He sat there in the dark for a long time, holding the phone, letting himself remember. The good memories, the happy ones, the moments that made life worth living. And when he finally put the phone down, he felt lighter, freer. The next morning, Isaiah woke up to sunlight streaming through the window. He made coffee and breakfast. The kids came out, sleepy but happy. They sat together at the small table, talking and laughing. "Is Lily coming today?" Zoe asked. "I don't know, baby. Maybe. I hope so." "Me too." At the diner, Isaiah prepared for the day. He cleaned the corner table, set out fresh napkins, made sure everything was perfect. Mr. Russo watched him with approval. "You're in a good place, Carter," Mr. Russo said. "Yeah, I think I am." "Good. Keep it that way." The lunch rush started right on time, the diner filled with people, familiar faces and new ones. Isaiah moved between tables with purpose, with energy, with something that felt like joy. And then, at 11:53, the door opened. Lily walked in, her pink prosthetic catching the light. Hannah followed behind her, smiling. They walked straight to the corner table, and Lily sat down like she belonged there, because she did. Isaiah brought over menus, even though he knew what they'd order. "Welcome back," he said. Lily smiled up at him. "I told you I'd keep coming, and I'm glad you did." "Me too." Hannah ordered for both of them, and Isaiah headed to the kitchen. But before he could put in the order, Lily called out, "Isaiah?" He turned. "Yeah, thank you. For everything." Isaiah felt his throat close up. "You don't have to thank me." "I know, but I want to." Isaiah nodded, unable to speak. He put in the order and stood at the counter, watching as Zoe came in and immediately ran to Lily's table. Watching as Malik followed more slowly but with a genuine smile. Watching as his children laughed and talked with this brave little girl who taught them all what it meant to be seen. And Isaiah realized something. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was living, really truly living. For the first time in 3 years, he felt like himself again. Like the man Shayla had fallen in love with. The man who cared about people, who saw them, who let himself be seen. Mrs. Delgado came in and waved at Lily. Mr. Russo brought out the food himself and nodded approvingly at the corner table. The whole diner felt different, warmer, brighter, more alive. Isaiah stood behind the counter watching it all and felt gratitude wash over him. Gratitude for this place, for his kids, for unexpected connections, for little girls who spoke truth without fear, for being seen, and for learning how to see again. When Lily and Hannah left that afternoon, Lily hugged Isaiah again, and this time, he didn't hesitate. He hugged her back, this small, brave girl who'd changed his life without even trying. "See you tomorrow?" Lily asked. "See you tomorrow," Isaiah promised, and he meant it, because tomorrow wasn't scary anymore. Tomorrow was full of possibility. Tomorrow was full of hope. Tomorrow was worth living for. As Isaiah locked up the diner that night, he looked at the corner table one last time. 2 chairs. Clean surface, ready and waiting. And he smiled, because he was ready too. Ready to keep living. Ready to keep loving. Ready to keep his heart open. Ready to keep being seen. And to keep seeing others. That was the gift Lily had given him. Not pity. Not charity. Just honest, human connection. The reminder that we all need to be seen. And that seeing others is what makes us whole. Isaiah walked home through the cold December night, his heart full, his steps light. And for the first time in 3 years, he wasn't just walking through his life, he was living it, really, truly living it. And that made all the difference. The end.